Imagine sitting under the warm Mediterranean sun. In front of you is a huge shallow pan filled with golden rice, the aroma of saffron floating through the air, vegetables gently simmering, and the sound of people laughing while waiting for lunch. It looks like just another delicious meal, but what if I told you that this famous dish carries over 1,000 years of history, has sparked heated arguments across Spain, and is considered such an important cultural treasure that people have actually protested over someone adding onions? Yes, today we're talking about paella, a dish that is far more than rice, meat, or seafood. It is one of Spain's greatest cultural symbols, a story of survival, tradition, community, and identity. Whenever people hear the word paella, many immediately think of colorful seafood spread across yellow rice. While that version is certainly popular around the world, the real story begins somewhere completely different. To understand paella, we have to travel to Valencia, a beautiful region on Spain's eastern coast. This is the true birthplace of paella, and for many Valencians, there is no debate about that. They proudly consider their version the original, and many believe every other variation is simply inspired by it. But the story actually starts centuries before anyone ever cooked what we now call paella. Around the 10th century, much of Spain was ruled by the Moors. These Muslim rulers from North Africa introduced many innovations that completely changed Spanish agriculture, and one of the most important was rice cultivation. Without them, paella might never have existed. Rice fields flourished around the Albufera Lagoon near Valencia, creating the perfect environment for what would eventually become Spain's most famous dish. Fast forward several hundred years to the 18th and 19th centuries. Farmers and laborers spent long days working under the hot Valencian sun. They needed a meal that was filling, inexpensive, and could feed several people at once. So they gathered around an open fire during lunch and cooked rice in a large flat pan using whatever ingredients they had nearby. Sometimes they picked tomatoes and green beans from the fields. Sometimes they collected snails after rainfall. On lucky days they added rabbit or duck. Wealthier families might include chicken, while poorer workers often relied almost entirely on vegetables and snails. There wasn't a strict recipe back then because necessity was the real chef. The meal depended on what nature provided that day. Interestingly, even the name paella has a fascinating history. Some people love to repeat the romantic story that it comes from the Arabic word bakia, meaning leftovers, suggesting servants combined leftover royal food into a new dish. It's certainly a beautiful story, but most language experts don't actually believe that's where the name comes from. Instead, linguists trace it back to the Latin word patella, which referred to a flat plate or shallow pan. That explanation makes perfect sense because originally paella referred not to the food itself but to the pan used to cook it. Even today, many people still refer to the pan as a paellera, showing how closely the cooking vessel and the dish remain connected. By the middle of the 19th century, paella had become so well known that newspapers in Spain started using the word to describe the recipe instead of just the pan. This marked an important turning point because paella was no longer just a practical meal for workers. It had become part of Valencian identity. Now here's something many tourists don't realize. Traditional paella valenciana is actually very specific. According to generations of Valencian cooks, authentic paella includes chicken, rabbit, green beans, butter beans called garofo, tomatoes, olive oil, saffron, paprika, rosemary, water, and sometimes snails. Notice something missing? Seafood. The seafood version that many people associate with Spain became popular later in coastal regions, where fishermen naturally used the fresh catch available to them. This means that the seafood paella many restaurants serve today isn't the original version at all. One reason paella became famous worldwide is because it is incredibly adaptable. Anthropologists have even called it a chameleon dish. Different regions of Spain developed their own variations using local ingredients. Some people added squid or prawns. Others preferred pork ribs. Outside Spain, chefs experimented even further, creating countless new interpretations. While this flexibility helped spread paella around the world, It also created endless arguments about what deserves to be called authentic paella. If you've ever met someone from Valencia, you might already know how seriously they take this subject. Mention putting chorizo into traditional paella, and you may start a passionate debate. Celebrity chefs have faced criticism for adding ingredients that locals consider unacceptable. Even onions have become controversial. In fact, one beer commercial once showed someone chopping onions for paella, and many Spanish viewers reacted with genuine outrage. It sounds funny from the outside, but for Valencians, paella isn't simply food. It's part of their cultural identity, and they fiercely protect that tradition. Perhaps the most treasured feature of a perfect paella isn't the seafood or the meat at all. It's something called sauerkraut. If you've never heard this word before, you're about to discover one of the biggest secrets of Spanish cooking. Sauerkraut is the thin, crispy, caramelized layer of rice that forms at the bottom of the pan during the final stage of cooking. It develops only if the cook gets everything exactly right. Too much heat and the rice burns. Too little heat and it never forms. This delicate golden crust has an incredible nutty flavor that many paella lovers consider the best part of the entire dish. In many families, people actually compete to scrape the sauerkraut from the bottom before anyone else gets to it. Creating this perfect crust requires following one of the golden rules of paella. Never stir the rice after adding it. This surprises many home cooks because we're used to stirring dishes constantly. But stirring releases starch and creates a creamy texture similar to risotto. Paella is supposed to remain light, with individual grains that absorb flavor while staying separate. Once the rice goes into the pan, patience becomes the most important ingredient. Another secret lies in the type of rice itself. Long-grain rice simply won't produce authentic results. Spanish varieties such as Bamba or Senia are specially valued because they absorb large amounts of broth without turning mushy. These grains act almost like tiny sponges, soaking up every bit of saffron, paprika, vegetables, herbs, and meat juices. That's why experienced paella cooks pay just as much attention to the rice as they do to the toppings. Then there's saffron, often called red gold because it is one of the world's most expensive spices. Every tiny thread is harvested by hand from the saffron crocus flower, making it incredibly valuable. Yet authentic paella simply isn't complete without it. Saffron gives the rice its beautiful golden color, but more importantly, it provides the earthy floral flavor that defines the entire dish. Some recipes outside Spain replace saffron with artificial coloring, but anyone familiar with authentic paella can immediately taste the difference. There are even mathematical rules involved in making a proper paella. Many traditional cooks follow a 3-to-1 ratio of liquid to rice. While this can vary slightly depending on the rice variety and cooking conditions, maintaining the proper balance ensures every grain cooks perfectly while allowing the prized sauerkraut to develop at the end. What's especially fascinating is that paella isn't just respected because of tradition. Modern science has started revealing that it's surprisingly nutritious as well. Researchers from the University of Valencia published findings showing that a serving of traditional paella provides a rich source of antioxidants. Even more interesting was the discovery that the ingredients work together through what scientists call a synergistic effect. In simple terms, the combined health benefits are actually greater than the individual ingredients would provide on their own. The tomatoes, olive oil, vegetables, herbs, and saffron interact in ways that make the whole dish even healthier. That's one reason paella fits perfectly within the Mediterranean diet, one of the healthiest eating patterns in the world. Paella has become such a symbol of togetherness that the Valencian government officially declared it an asset of intangible cultural interest in 2021. That's a remarkable honor because it recognizes not just the recipe but everything surrounding it: the traditions, family gatherings, outdoor cooking, and the idea that food should bring people together. Officials even described paella as representing the art of joining and sharing. It's difficult to think of many meals that receive this level of cultural recognition. Its popularity has spread far beyond Spain. Today, you can find paella restaurants across Europe, Asia, North America, Australia, and countless other places. Yet despite becoming a global icon, the dish has never forgotten its roots. Every authentic pan still reflects the resourcefulness of those Valencian farmers who simply cooked with what they had available. Speaking of popularity, here's an incredible record. In 1992, the world's largest paella measured approximately 65 feet across. Imagine standing beside a cooking pan larger than many houses. It required enormous amounts of ingredients and ultimately fed well over 100,000 people. That's not just cooking, that's an engineering project disguised as lunch. However, paella's future isn't guaranteed. Some of its most traditional ingredients face challenges from climate change. Rice cultivation around the Albufera wetlands depends on delicate environmental conditions. The famous garofo beans used in authentic Valencian recipes are also becoming more difficult to preserve. Protecting paella, therefore, isn't only about preserving a recipe. It's also about protecting landscapes, farming traditions, biodiversity, and centuries of cultural knowledge passed from one generation to another. One of the most beautiful things about paella is that the cooking process itself matters almost as much as eating it. Families often gather outdoors, light a wood fire, and spend hours preparing the ingredients together. Nobody rushes. People talk, laugh, and enjoy each other's company while the rice slowly absorbs every flavor. When the paella is finally ready, everyone gathers around the same pan. Traditionally, each person eats directly from the section in front of them rather than transferring everything onto individual plates. It's an experience built around sharing rather than separating. Perhaps that's why paella continues to capture hearts around the world. Yes, it's delicious. Yes, it looks beautiful. But its real power lies in what it represents. It reminds us that some of humanity's greatest foods were created not in luxury kitchens but in fields by ordinary workers making the best of what they had. It proves that simple ingredients, when combined with patience, tradition, and community, can become something extraordinary. So the next time you see a pan of golden rice, don't think of it as just another recipe. You're looking at over 1,000 years of agricultural history, cultural exchange, scientific discovery, passionate family traditions, and a symbol of togetherness that continues to unite people across the globe. From Roman cooking pans and Moorish rice fields to modern festivals and family gatherings, paella has traveled an incredible journey. It has survived changing empires, evolving tastes, and countless debates over what belongs in the pan. Yet through it all, its heart has remained exactly the same, a meal meant to be shared. And maybe that's the greatest lesson paella teaches us. Sometimes the world's most unforgettable dishes aren't just about feeding our stomachs. They're about bringing people together, one delicious spoonful at a time.